Hey everyone, welcome to GoLocal Live. I'm arts and entertainment host Ava Gaudette, and I have a cool show today. We're talking about art and music, and we have a live performance with our 3:30 guests, so be sure to stick around for that. But up first, I'm sitting here with my good friend Stephen Pennell. He is coordinator for the Urban Arts and Culture, thank you. It just slipped my mind, I knew it. Urban Arts and Culture program at URI Providence. There's a new art exhibit that is opening today, and it is called Visible Cloth, Invisible Bodies, and Stephen is here to talk about it.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. The Arts and Culture program at the URI Providence campus has monthly exhibits and performances on different topics of social justice and on diversity. And this project is very exciting and very different. We always do something special for Black History Month starting in January through February. And this project came to me. There's a group of people who've been working together for quite a long time doing research on the history of Rhode Island and slavery and also the Industrial Revolution. So this project came from the Committee for the Commemoration and Study of Slavery in Rhode Island. And so this follows, many people know some things about slavery, some things about the planting and harvesting of cotton in the South, and about the Industrial Revolution, which started in Rhode Island.
Right.
But very few people know that Rhode Island was connected to all of that. That in fact there were merchants in Rhode Island who had ships, and they would go to Africa to get the slaves, and they would bring them through Rhode Island. In some cases, slaves were kept in Rhode Island, and then some of those people actually had their own plantation in the South, and they would the slaves would harvest cotton, which was a really, really nasty operation. By the time that the cotton was harvested, the plants were dry and brittle and sharp, and they would cut you, and they had to stand out in the broiling sun,
right,
with no water, and just pick cotton. And then the cotton was brought back to the north, sometimes to these same people's mills, and because there were mills all over southern New England and heavily in Rhode Island for textiles. And so the cotton had to be carded and made into fabric. And actually the mill process was very brutal as well. Primarily white immigrants, because when the Italians came, they weren't welcome in the mills, and African Americans were not welcome in the mills on the whole. But people would have their children go and work in the mills because some of the work required small bodies, and they were long hours, terrible conditions.
Right.
So these same people were making money in each step along the way. So this exhibit, which has photographs, and it also has some amazing images that have been painted by Deborah Baronis, a Rhode Island artist, on huge, oversized, bigger than life-sized kind of gauze fabric. And the images are kind of ghostly images that are just floating in the space.
It's really beautiful. I've seen some photographs of it on the artist's website herself, and I'm sure the impact of actually being there and seeing it, because they are so large and larger than life, it must be breathtaking.
It really is, and then in addition to photographs, large photographs, and the images that Deborah Baronis has created, we also have cotton plants. So you get
we had a little here too.
Yes, yeah.
Kind of picked them over.
Yeah, I brought some pieces that didn't make it. And some cotton plants were kind of, you usually see the sort of chest high, but some cotton plants were really, really high. I've learned all of these things, as I do with each project.
Up on this project, yeah.
Yes, and they were very sharp, and the plants were dead by the time they were picked. And then we also have some pieces of mill equipment from the Slater Mill, who kindly collaborated with this project, and they let us have the equipment. So I was hauling the gear last setting up the exhibit. So it's quite an experience, just sort of traveling through some of the elements of the shipping of slaves, body to body in the lower decks of ships, to Rhode Island, through Rhode Island to the plantations, the picking of cotton, and then the creation of fabric. And of course, there was the nice fabric. We have nice fabric, I have nice fabric, but then slaves actually, there was slave cloth, which was really nasty. It was very coarse, worse than burlap.
Oh, wow.
And their clothes were just kind of sack skirts and blouses and sack pants and shirts, one size fits all-ish. And they were cinched, with a rope. So that was what they wore in all of this labor that went into this process.
Yeah. It's very interesting because a lot of people who have grown up here know that the Industrial Revolution is attributed to our area, Slater Mill, and all these things, and it's a positive thing, but you don't think always about the price that was paid in order to make that happen. And it seems that this is sort of opening the window into what actually had to be done at that time in order to make this happen, how painful and terrible the conditions were, and the use of slaves in order to make it happen, the use of child labor to make it happen, and it's sort of not pleasant.
It isn't. There's a picture of a little girl standing on a box because she was too small to do the particular job that she was required to do, and there are children were utilized, and they had to go underneath the machinery because as a thread would break, they would have to attach the next spool, but in the process your hair could get caught.
Oh my goodness.
Arms got severed, and just long hours, 7 days a week. The institution of schools, Sunday school, was eventually they got so that they didn't have to work on Sundays, and so that they learned to read and also learned about the Bible. And so schooling was not an automatic thing for the average person, and then safety issues, and there were mills would catch on fire. They oiled the floor to keep the dust down. It was a nasty environment, but it caused fire because the machinery, which started out running by water power, but it was still gears moving, could create sparks, and then you've got all this thread, all this fabric,
all this flammable,
and wooden floors and everything. So it was not a positive environment any more than picking cotton was. I had a very interesting experience I want to share. Somebody that I work with was walking along the hallway, and when he was a child, he had to work with his parents and grandparents picking cotton. And of course they weren't slaves, but they were working in these horrible conditions. So this is, while we're looking at the 19th century, we're not looking at 18th century, which is where it began, but even in the 20th century, this is not a real pleasant job to have to have.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall this subject matter is not very pleasant, and it's painful for a lot of people to think about slavery and to think about how much Rhode Island was a part of this practice. And so how do you expect people to react when they see this exhibit, or how do you hope they react when they see this exhibit? Do you expect it to be painful for people?
Difficult. I don't think it's necessarily painful. It's not a gory exhibit, and it's kind of ghostly, but it is provocative. It does make you think. It is quite shocking to realize the involvement of our state in this whole process, and and it's a learning exhibit. It's not full of text that you have to read like this is a book.
Right.
You really experience it
Yeah.
in a way that is visceral.
Yeah.
And I think it makes you stop and think, and then you think today, right, there are other places in the world, there are other situations where people are being treated inhumanely. So, all right, this isn't happening in the way that it did, but where is it happening now? And what can we do to make a difference?
And I mean, it's crazy to think that in 2018, the subject of racism is being brought up every single day.
Absolutely.
And you would think that we would be farther away from this than we actually are at this point. So I imagine that adds a little extra weight
Absolutely.
to the exhibit at this point in our...
And maybe it's fortunate that this is in our laps right now.
Right.
Sometimes we forget when it's something that's happening halfway across the globe, it removes us. But so our conversations right now, while difficult, are important for us to make change here and also impact change across the globe, because it's a smaller world today than it was 150 years ago.
Yes, and it is nice to have this opportunity to, in a way, pay homage to the people that actually built the industry in our country. Like invisible bodies, they weren't invisible, you know.
No.
They are invisible to our history in some ways because we
Right.
don't like to think about it. But these are the people, these are the human beings that actually made this happen.
And by exhibiting and talking about these people and giving them a name and sharing their history, they become visible.
Right.
I do want to mention that in addition to the exhibit, which is on the first and second floor of the URI Providence campus, 80 Washington Street, which is just up the street.
Our neighbors
yes.
at URI Providence.
There's also two wonderful events. They're quite different from each other. One is on the 3rd of February from 1 to 5. There'll be some presentations and performance by Sylvia Soares.
What type of performance is it? I was wondering, is it like a reading or a...
No, it's a full performance. She's personifying an actual individual whose story she'll share, and her Rhode Island woman and her connection.
Wow.
And then on the 8th of February at 6:30 there'll be a panel of scholars to talk about, and then there'll be open discussion to talk about other aspects of slavery in Rhode Island and in the United States.
Very interesting. A lot of opportunity to get involved, it sounds like. A lot of opportunity to sort of have an interactive experience with the exhibit.
Absolutely. We hope that teachers will bring their students and parents will bring their children so that you can experience this. The building is open from Monday through Thursday, 9 to 9. I say 9 to 9, but it's actually open before and open later. And then Friday and Saturday until 5 o'clock. We're closed on Sundays. So come through, it's free. All of these events are free, and we would welcome students to come through as a group or individual.
Yeah, it runs from starting today through February 22nd, so a lot of opportunity to check it out. And also you can check out the special events, and everything is available at the URI website. I
That's
imagine
correct.
we'll have that posted on golocalprov.com if you want more information. Stephen, thank you so much for being here today. It sounds like a really interesting exhibit. I can't wait to check it out. Thank you so much for talking about it.
It was a pleasure, and thank you for having me. Please come down.
Come and check it out. It is called, again, Visible Cloth, Invisible Bodies, presented by URI Providence. Thank you again, Stephen Pennell. I'm going to take a quick break to get set up for my next guest, so stick around. Hey everyone, welcome back to Go Local Live. I am Ava Gaudette, and up next in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center, I am speaking with this gentleman right here, Josh Lovelace. How are you, Josh?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Josh is the keyboard player for the Grammy-nominated band Need to Breathe, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're also going to talk about his new solo album, which is a family-friendly children's album called Young Folk. It sounds awesome. I am a mom. I love this idea, so we're going to talk about that. So, Josh, just briefly, tell me a little bit about your experience with Need to Breathe. I mean, super popular. You guys are doing amazing, nominated for a Grammy. How did you get involved with the band?
Yeah, so I'm actually starting my 8th year with the band, which is insane to think about. The band's been around for about 15 years, so to think that I've been around that long is kind of nuts. I've known them for a long time. The other guys in the band actually grew up together, so 2 of them were brothers, and so they known each other forever. And I met them on the road playing with other bands, and have been around for a long time, and it's really fun. We get to do some really amazing things, and they worked so hard early on, and we're now able to play some crazy places, and yeah, it's a super fun life to live and fun band to be in.
Awesome. And here you are, you've done your first solo album, really, and it's a children's album. So what inspired you to go in that direction and write children's music?
Yeah, I've always wanted to do something like this. It's kind of a crazy thing. Growing up, I was really inspired by music. My grandparents were very musical and were very influential in trying to give me some good music to listen to as a kid. And I kind of have kept that my whole life. I've always looked back on those days as, with a lot of joy, and there's a nostalgia, element to that as well. Just I had a great childhood, and I was very fortunate. And I had some people around me that played good music, and when I had kids of my own, I kind of wanted to continue that, and also to kind of pay tribute to my grandparents and people that have gone before me, but also do something for my kids that is for them. Even Need to Breathe and other musical things that I've been a part of. I think there's a part of you that does it for your family, of course, and does it to leave a legacy and to do things that mean a lot to people, but to do something that actually, literally is for them and for their age, and something they can enjoy now that my kids are 4 and 1, so they're like perfect age for it.
Yes.
So I've always wanted to do it, and it just seemed like the perfect time, and I'm thrilled with how it's been received so far.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you've said that you realized when you had kids that you would just make up songs, just throughout the day. And I love that because, as a mom myself, I have a 2-year-old, and I do it all the time. I'm constantly making up songs, and now she's constantly making up songs. So did any of those songs that you would make up end up on the album? Were those like early songwriting buds for songs that made it on the album?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of crazy, and just in today's world, how you can document and archive those moments really easily. I've got a phone that has a voice recorder on it, so I'm always running around the house. If I come up with an idea, I grab my phone and sing into the phone, and then whenever the kids finally go to sleep and my wife goes to sleep, I come downstairs. I'm actually here in my basement, like little recording studio now, and just start working and go back and listen to the voice memos of the day. And if anything some of it is pretty terrible, and then some of it's like, oh, maybe that's something that can be useful for other parents or for just good memories for kids. So definitely a lot of songs from this record came from those moments for sure.
How did you end up picking the subject matter for the songs? I mean, obviously subject matter that is going to relate to kids and what they're going through are different than subject matter that an adult would care about. If songs like Eat Your Vegetables and Messy Bessie and these kinds of things. How did you decide what the subjects were going to be for the songs?
Yeah, I didn't honestly think about it too hard. The biggest thing for me was I had a couple of filters that I would put everything to the test.
Yeah.
One would be well, first off, do I like it?
Right.
Is this something that I like? I'm listening to. I'm like, I think I would enjoy this as a parent. And also the second filter, of course, was having a focus group of two kids living with me.
Yeah.
At that whole time, trying things out on them, and also just trying not to be too teachy. I didn't want to make a record that was trying to teach you how to do everything. And I have some great mentors in the children's market that did that really well. They picked songs that they enjoyed, and their enjoyment of the songs was infectious, and people saw. So they weren't necessarily trying to teach you numbers and colors, but if
Right.
you learn something like that through their songs, then that's fine. But it
Right.
wasn't the first thing. So I think that was a big thing too. Is just I didn't want to feel like I was being dishonest or trying to sneak a lesson. If a lesson happened, hopefully it happened organically. So that was kind of the idea anyway.
Yeah, totally get that. Because kids are way smarter than you think, you know. They know when you're trying to, sneak in
Yeah.
a message.
Totally. Yeah. And my son, he's 4, and so he was, he's been around for this whole duration, the whole record. So, I was writing songs for him before he was born, and a couple of them actually made the record. But a lot of those songs were definitely, some of those voice memos that didn't make the record were songs that. I might have been singing them, and he wasn't responding to them. And I think that's just for us. I mean, some other kid in another state or something would have maybe loved it, but I had to stay true to this is intended for my kids, and hopefully
Right.
other kids enjoy it as well. But that was the ultimate test, at least in our household.
Yeah, it's like you had your own little focus group.
Totally. It definitely felt like that. There was
Yeah.
moments where I was really excited about songs, or like I said, I listen to a song idea and I'll try to take it the next step and the next step, adding drums or adding things that make it more lively. And there's been times that I would take a song that, pretty far, take distance, and my son just was like not feeling it, and it's such a bummer because you're like, I think you need to like this, and he's like,
Yeah.
I don't like this. I can't like. So that was kind of a wake up call for me to know
Right.
that my kid is probably smarter than I am.
Right, listen to the kids. Well,
Exactly.
that's the thing about the album too that I definitely appreciate, and I think a lot of parents out there will appreciate, is that you say this is an album for kids and their grown-ups. So this is really meant to be enjoyed by the entire family. And the difference there is that a lot of children's songs are sort of like overly repetitious or overly simplified to sort of target kids in a certain way, and the kids sing it over and over again and the parents get annoyed. And that was not the goal for this album.
No, not at all. And I think that we're in a really interesting place in the world and in music in general. I know a lot of families that listen to top 40 radio in their car with their kids,
Yeah.
and their kids are singing every word back.
Yeah.
And in some ways it's a really awesome thing because they're like, oh, they're catching on to melodies and rhythms. Some of that's really great, but in some ways it's a bummer too, because it's kind of sad because the subject matter is not for them.
Right.
It was never meant for them. So to try to find a way to kind of meet in the middle and create something, where the subject matter is, innocent and also whimsical enough for a child, but also a parent can, think back to when they were that young, and they can relive their childhood, or just like spend time with their kids and not be just absolutely annoyed,
Yes.
So I think it's trying to find that perfect match, which, I think that I tried to, just scratch the surface of that, but that was definitely the intention, is, what kind of record could I put in the car that I love and I can stand,
Right.
and my kids love it too, and it's also just, it's kind of a nice thing to do something for children,
Yeah.
instead of do something that they can just enjoy but wasn't intended for them. It's like flipping the roles a little bit. And so that's what I tried to do, is to make it to where there's no doubt that it's for kids, but
Right.
hopefully it is something that the family can adopt and do something together that creates memories that outlive them, and any kind of songs that that they may never remember Eat Your Vegetables, but they'll hopefully remember singing together as a family when they were a kid. That would be the ultimate compliment for anything that this record could ever do. So
Absolutely. And you really did have an opportunity to involve your whole family on the record. Your wife played flute, I believe, on the album. Your kids' voices can be heard in there.
yeah, it's kind of crazy. So yeah, having a recording studio in your house is a blessing and a curse. It's nice because I can work when I can, but also having a musical wife is amazing, and it's also for her. I'm sure she's tired of me asking her to come do background vocals at different point. But yeah, she played flute in high school, and so she was really, really good, and I pulled her out of retirement to come play on this record. And it was really fun. And then my son sang one of the songs on the record that actually has his name on it. It's called Henry, My Son. And and I wrote it for him, but I thought it would be just really fun to have him sing it, because he sings it all. He would sing it around the house all the time. So he came downstairs, put the headphones on, had like a real recording studio rock star moment. And we just put it on there because it was just too perfect the way it was. So.
Oh my God, what a special thing for your family and for your kids to have this when they get older, to be like, this is what we did with, this is what I did with my dad when I was a kid. It's kind of special.
Yeah, I definitely wanted it to be something that they could keep forever. So I think just the way the world is now, CDs are kind of out the door a little bit. So I was like, I feel like vinyl's making a comeback, so I made sure to press it on vinyl. It's on CD, it's on digital, so it's like unless all three of those go away, they could hopefully have a copy of it on some format forever.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So you had some cool collaborations for this album. I mean, I'm sure you have lots of musician friends, but specifically you were able to collaborate with Sharon and Bram, who are, obviously famous in the children's music world, Skinnamarink Dink. I mean, I think we all remember that. What was that like for you? You said you actually really loved them when you were a kid, and then you got to collaborate with them.
Yeah, no, I did. So I grew up listening to them, and my grandparents, we would watch the Elephant Show when I was a kid, and it was my first real interaction with music, and what music could do to where your environment and the things that you do, and you're playing and you're singing, and I got to see it with them on television all the time, and experience that with my grandparents. And I grew up just, really, as I became an adult, really appreciating that more and more, right. Especially being a musician and being in the entertainment industry and understanding the sacrifices that they made to be, children's entertainers and children's musicians. It's a very thankless job. Sometimes, when you're a kid, they're the best thing in the world. Then you get older. Kids get older, and then they're like, well, you remember us? We were in your life all the time. Right. So it's definitely one of those kind of jobs that it takes a special person to do that. And I really just appreciated them, and got to kind of reach out to them. A couple is probably, I guess it's been like 7 years ago now. Reached out to them to thank them, and became friends, and they've been very helpful with just random music stuff, even with the band, traveling, how do you balance your time, and being able to ask them questions was awesome. And so when I knew that I really wanted to do this project, especially when I started having kids, I feel like now's a good time, and was very nervous to ask them to be a part of it, but I knew that it wouldn't make sense to not have them on there. I had to at least ask, and I asked, and luckily they liked the song. And Lois passed away a couple of years ago, but they've been touring, the two of them, for a long time. She hadn't been touring with them for a while, so they're still very active. They're celebrating their 40th year of singing together this year, which is insane. And so it's kind of fun to bring them back into the, and definitely in the U.S., on the U.S. side, bring them back into conversation, and hopefully people, remember those, have happy memories of their, family, and listening to the records and watching them and kind of seeing them again. It was, to me, the most, full circle special moment, of my musical career, just to be able to do something, you know, that you love, but that tied into who you are and where you came from, and see it kind of come to fruition. It's really, really, it was a really special thing. So.
Oh, that is so cool. And you,
Yeah.
you brought up a good point in there too about asking them how to balance this kind of lifestyle. And obviously,
Mhm.
you're very close with your family, you have young kids. How do you balance a tour schedule with a major band and your family?
Yeah, it's difficult. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we just now did a tour in the fall. We did, I think it was 57 shows or
Wow.
57 cities, and in like 3.5 months or something like that. And as Need to Breathe has played over 1,000 shows to over 1 million people in their career. So we've doing it for a long time. Some seasons have been busier than others, and
Right.
and I think now we're all starting to get to that phase of our life where we're having kids, and we are trying to balance that a little bit better.
Mm.
But it's definitely a trial and error. I mean, we're still, we thought that we were going to go into last year as more of a skinnier, not as busy year, and then by the end of it, we were all looking at each other like, what just happened? I mean, we've been going for 3 months, and we got back, I think, 6 days before Christmas, and we were like, oh, we got to go shopping. Like, we haven't even
Right.
done
We
any.
have Christmas to do.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that part of it too is just like we are still trying to figure it out. But I think that the good thing is we haven't. I don't feel like we like thrown in the towel
Right.
yet.
Right.
Like we still want to. We're still hungry. We still want to do what we do and do it at a high level, and trying to figure out how to. Keep our family at the forefront of all that, and making sure that we're good for our family as well
Right.
as good for the band. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that for us, having the kids on the road has been really fun. Like we get to do really cool things, and they come on stage and bring their little guitars and pretend and
Cool.
bands and stuff. So it's pretty fun. I mean, it is hard to be gone, but
Yeah.
the payoff is there are some really cool experiences that we try to take as many pictures as we can. So
Right.
so when they're old enough to understand, they don't absolutely despise me for being gone for as long as I am. Like, remember, you got to do this pretty cool thing, I
Right.
mean,
You
come
get to
on.
like record on an album and like come on
Yeah,
stage. Come on.
I
Yeah.
mean, you gotta
Wasn't
give
so
me a
bad.
break. And
Right.
seriously, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to
Yeah.
talk about this. A lot going on with Need to Breathe. You guys are going back in the studio so we can keep up with you and everything that is happening with the band. And Young Folk is available right now. So all you parents out there with kids, if you're looking for a wonderful opportunity to enjoy some music with your kids, you can pick up Young Folk right now on iTunes and Josh's website, joshlovelessmusic.com. Josh, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun.
I'm going to take a quick pause and set up for my next guest, so stick around.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Go Local Live. I am Ava Gaudet, Arts and Entertainment host. Up next in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center, I am talking to very talented singer and songwriter and senior at Providence College, of course, Adam Hanna. Adam, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So I'm talking to Adam today. He has a show coming up. He has been selling out shows all over. We're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about his music a little bit. First, I would love to just talk a little bit about your music, your sound, kind of how you got started.
So I started playing guitar when I was 8 years old. Very young. My dad actually used to play guitar a lot when he was younger, and he was the one that gave me my first guitar, showed me my first chords, and as soon as I picked up the guitar, I never put it down. Like, you can still ask my friends today, like, if they come over just to hang out, whether it's like at my house in Providence or at my house back near Cape Cod, like, if there's a guitar in the room, nobody else exists and nothing else exists. And
You're
like,
playing
they're
it,
like, dude,
it.
come on, can you
Over.
at least give me some attention here? It's like, if there's a guitar, there's nothing else. So, but I think that's part of what's gotten me to this point is starting young and then just laser focused on what I wanted and
Right.
just keep playing and keep learning. You know, probably should focus a little more on school sometimes than I do on the guitar. But I'm looking like
Well,
a
you
better
made it to
grad.
senior
I made
year,
it- see, let's
so-
just cross our fingers.
Yeah,
here, okay?
exactly.
I got
You're
a
like
couple more classes.
right at the finish line.
Right at the finish line. But yeah, so 8 years old, started playing guitar, and then probably like 12 years old, I started singing because I think that was like right around middle school, and I realized that guitar was cool, but then if I really wanted to impress girls, I needed to sing too. Like, I couldn't just play guitar, I needed to start singing. So
There you go.
I started singing, and then it went together. So.
When did you start writing songs?
Songs started when I was a little older. I think you need a little bit more experience living in order to
Yes.
write lyrics. I mean, the music came very quickly to me. The lyrics came a little bit later. So probably when I was about 16, sophomore year of high school, you know, I started experiencing those emotions of like stuff not going well and some
Right.
stuff going really well. And then I started writing them down, and then it all kind of flowed from there.
Yeah, that's a really good point because whenever someone is like, oh, I started writing songs when I was in like second grade, I'm always like, what were you writing songs about?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I don't know.
Like crayons and coloring. Like I didn't. Yeah, you have to live a little and feel some pain.
Absolutely. I think that's a very, very big part of it. And honestly, like, my best songs usually come when I go through something pretty bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen a correlation with that. And sometimes they end up being happy songs. It's
Right.
weird. It's very strange how it works, but it's the writing process is very unique and interesting. I think with each individual, but it's just a cool process to even think about and contemplate. You know?
Yeah. Who are some of the artists that really inspired you?
So a few of the main the biggest artist that inspires me is Bruce Springsteen. You know, that's a classic. He's my favorite, absolute favorite. As far as guitar goes, John Mayer is big, and then Ed Sheeran too for a new pop artist. But Springsteen for me has that ability that when he goes on stage, like, you can't take your eyes off of him. And it's not because he's like the best looking guy ever or anything like that. He just like he just captures your attention. He doesn't let you. He doesn't let you look away. You know,
Right,
what I mean?
right.
He's always just going. And I try to do that when I'm on stage too. And lyrically, he's amazing. So I'm trying to bring back that sound a little bit to the pop era, because I don't think that ever goes away. I've even seen kids at concerts like singing "Baby, We Were Born to Run." I'm like, oh, you know that song. Like, it's very cool for me to see that, you know. So Springsteen's my favorite. Absolutely.
Cool. Well, obviously it's working for you because this is the thing. It's like you're selling out shows. You had a show at the Met. Over 500 people showed up. What is your secret? What's the thing?
My secret.
Is it just that you have
I
like
can't
this
reveal
amazing?
my secret.
Yeah, you can't.
No, so
No spoilers.
No. So the school has helped me so much. Providence College has been a huge help. I remember last year my first show at this place called Firehouse 13, which is gone now at this point. But I went out for my first show and I got a couple opening acts. I was like, look, there might be 5 people that come out to this thing, and I can't pay you at all because I can't even pay myself for this thing. But we're just gonna see what happens. And 100 kids came out, and I was like,
amazing.
It was the most amazing. I think that first show for me when there was 100 kids was the most amazing feeling, because I was like, kids are actually gonna come watch me sing, like,
right.
what, you know? And then rewind now or fast forward to last month, where there were over 500 kids at one of the best venues around here,
Right.
and it's been over, and that was just a year's time. So it's been a very, very cool progression, and I think that's the main thing as far as the secret goes. It's like start small, like that first 100, and then see what works, keep doing that,
Right.
and see what doesn't work, and stop doing that right away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
well, I think what's really important about that is that, you know, attendance to your shows, talks, that holds a lot of weight in the industry. I mean, a lot of artists are really talented and have great songs, even great stage presence, but, you know, in the industry, if you're not drawing, it's tough. You're not going to get the great gigs. It's just going to be a little bit harder.
I've realized that myself too, and it's kind of sad because there's some people that will go their whole lives without being ever recognized, and they're some of the best ones. And the main thing that, whether it's record labels or club promoters or club owners,
Right.
what they care about is, can you bring people to the show?
Right.
And that's it. Luckily, I'm halfway decent at singing and playing guitar, so like kids enjoy it. But like, if you can't bring kids to the show,
Yeah.
or anybody to the show, you don't get the gig. You know,
Right.
so it's a matter of, and I'm a marketing major at PC, so I've started to last year through this year understand certain things. Like, you got to understand people
Yeah.
to get them out to a show and keep them at a show, and what's going to get them to come, what's going to get them to listen to your song, what's going to
Right.
get them to buy your song, what's going to get them to like you and not like you. There's a lot of things that go into it, so
Yeah.
it's kind of intertwining everything.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I can't imagine that having a degree in marketing can do anything but help
I
your
agree.
music career, and vice versa. Like you said, you're actually learning things about marketing by this trial and error of going out there and having contact with your fans and your audience.
Yeah, it's been my own little major almost outside of marketing. It's like another marketing major on top of it.
Yeah,
a minor,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's my own class that I'm teaching myself in
Right.
a way, or like life's teaching me in
Right.
a way. I'm learning a lot from actual experience, which is it's vital to
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do. So I'm grateful for it. I'm very grateful for all the kids at PC who've been supporting me, all my friends and family. Like, it's been very cool. The people who have, and like even just something little like this, you know, like to have come on an interview and be able
Yeah,
to talk about it. It's really
absolutely.
cool for me. So I do appreciate this as well.
Of course. Well, we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
So you're a senior at PC. Like I said, you're at the finish line. What do you think is next for you?
It's very clear to me that I want to keep doing music full time. Whether that means I have to get a little job on the side,
Yeah.
whatever that may be, I'll do whatever it takes to make this work. But I absolutely, my goal, I'm not quiet about it. Like, my goal is to be the next Ed Sheeran. It's to be the next Springsteen. Like, that's what I want to do, and I'm not going to hold that back.
Yeah,
Like,
if you can't say it,
no,
how could you be it?
you have to be able to say it. I 100% believe in that, and so that's what I want to do. And I don't have like a set in stone plan. I don't really believe in that. I think I have strategies to, like, okay, if this works, I'll go that route. If this, but I'm gonna do everything I can to just keep playing music, keep making money, and make my way up to that. Through that ladder, and if I get to skip a few steps and go right to Ed Sheeran, that's great too.
Yeah,
But,
you never know. Honestly, this day and age,
anything can happen.
yep, anything can happen.
And I also just went out to LA. I know you were in LA for a
Yeah,
while,
yeah.
and love it out there. The weather,
Especially
alone.
now.
Especially
now when it's
especially
12
now.
degrees every day.
I know. So we'll see. I could end up out there. I'm gonna look at Nashville too.
Yeah.
And then I also have still kids around here that will support me. So I think that there's many doors that are open. And I'm just excited. Like, I'm not as much nervous as I am. Like, I'm ready. You know.
You have so many possibilities.
I'm ready to
at
do
point.
this. You know. I'm happy for it. So.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you have another show coming up at the Met
Correct.
this Friday night. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect at this show. What have you got planned?
So I think this is going to be probably the biggest show because there's a lot of juniors that were abroad this past semester, and they're all back. So we had this one whole grade that was just like gone, and we still got 500. So I'm hoping
Wow.
we can bring even more kids to this show. But as far as I choose opening acts that I think are very good and talented and that are going to bring kids, and so we have very good opening acts. We have 3 girls opening as like a little trio. And then I have this kid, Spencer Bebon, who's very good, who's actually thinking of moving out to Memphis after school. So we have a lot of talent.
Are these all like PC
all PC
artists?
kids? So that's another one of the little secrets of getting kids to the shows is I try to involve people who are going to bring their friends as well and who can sing well. So then
Right.
it's been cool for me to have opening acts like go on stage like who wouldn't have experienced this otherwise, and
Right.
then they get off like, wow, that was really like that was an amazing experience. And that for me to hear that too, it's really cool because I know I was like a little bit of a part of that. And,
Right.
You know, so that's very cool, and I'm looking forward to that for this new group of girls that are going to be performing on Friday to have that experience. And I'm going to hopefully go on and kill it on stage.
Yes,
too, so,
I'm sure you will.
it'll be good.
So you're going to give us a little sneak peek?
Yes.
Or a little performance
Yes.
at least?
Yes.
What's the song? What is it about?
So this is my most recent single that I released called Queen Bee.
Okay.
It's
I saw the video.
You
It's
did?
a good video, yes.
Thank you very much.
On YouTube, on your website.
Yes, AdamHannahMusic.
That's right,
.com.
AdamHannahMusic.com.
And but yeah, so it's the closest thing I have to a love song. It is a love song. It's really just about being infatuated in a girl. Really, just you'll see. I'll sing it for you.
Perfect.
It'll speak.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good. I'm gonna get out of here
All
then.
right, sounds good. I know you said you like to dance too.
I
don't
do.
know.
I'll probably dance.
All
Don't
right.
mind me.
I saw you in springtime, a child of the wind, when every flower would welcome you in. The queen bee does not sting, she flies alone, she serves no king. The queen bee does not sting, she hovers high above all things. I'll love you as long as my stinger still stings. I'll love you as long as there's buzz in my wings. You'll always be the queen. At 17, oh 17, I'll still love you, honey. You'll still be my queen. At 17, oh 17. I'll fetch you nectar when summer arrives. Respect you, protect you, I'll build you a hive. The queen bee does not sting, she needs no throne, she wears no ring. The queen bee does not sting, she hovers high above all things. I'll love you as long as my stinger still stings. I'll love you as long as there's buzz in my wings. You'll always be the queen. At 17, oh 17, I'll still love you, honey. You'll still be my queen. At 17, oh 17. When all of your flowers have withered away and shadows alone at the end of the day, with winter drawing near as days diminish in the year, the queen bee does not sting, she hovers high above all things. I love you as long as my stinger still stings. I love you as long as there's a buzz in my wings. You'll always be the queen. At 17, oh 17, I'll still love you, honey. You'll still be my queen. At 17, oh 17, I'll still love you, honey. You'll still be my queen. At 17, oh 17. Thank you
That
very
was
much.
beautiful. I was
Thank
slow
you.
dancing by
I
myself
could see
in the
you slow
corner.
dancing by yourself. That's my next song.
Adam, Hannah, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Go check him out at the Met Friday night, and you can also check out his website,
AdamHannahMusic.
AdamHannahMusic.com.
You got it. You got it.
I got it right. Finally. That is my show for today. Thank you so much for checking it out. I'll be back next Tuesday from 3 to 4 p.m. as always, and you can check out Kate Nagel at 4 o'clock with News and Politics. Thank you.